morning shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight with your award-winning host, Dale Davidson. Dale interviews fascinating guests from top-ranked celebrities to people just like you who have an important story to tell. For more than 15 years, Dale is broadcast every week from the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. He finds the people who really make Las Vegas a one-of-a-kind city and lets the world know just what's happening in this remarkable town. You'll discover why 50 million people visit the entertainment capital of the world every year. Stay tuned for another exciting episode of Las Vegas Tonight.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. We are so blessed today to have Morlon Greenwood with us. He's a former NFL player. He's a Christian man. He's from Jamaica, and he's a very interesting guy. We're going to call on him to sing as well later on. Morlon Greenwood, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So tell me about Jamaica. I've never met anyone from Jamaica.
Well, one of the things I always talk, so I'm glad you started there. I always like to tell people where I'm from.
Yes.
Because I think that everything that blossoms into something great has a beginning. Mm-hmm. And it's important that people know the origin of where you come from. So thank you very much for saying that.
Sure.
I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. And lived.
That's the largest city, right?
I don't know if it's the largest one, but it's the capital. I have to look at the map.
There you go.
I came to America when I was 11, so
okay.
So I've been over here a lot longer than being in Jamaica. But I remember being in Jamaica and when I was younger. I remember walking barefoot on the ground and living in humble beginnings and everything, and thinking about how I was gonna help my family. And I remember being at Hazard Primary. That was the school. I was in Maple, Clarendon. My father was in America at the time. Looking for a way to bring us up.
To bring
there.
you all up there, yeah.
And I remember walking to the water fountain, and I was thinking about my grandmother, that she was old, and I mentioned my.
And she lived in.
She lived in Jamaica as well.
Oh, okay.
She passed away. She passed away, but I was thinking about her, that she was old, and I was thinking about my mother, that what's going to happen when she gets old. And then I thought about my father as well, and then that's when I heard a voice that said, "You're going to be the one to take care of your family." I mean, it didn't sound quite like that. It's more like, "You're going to be the one to take care of your family."
This was an order, is what it was.
Yeah, and it was like so loud, and I kind of like stopped. Like you think someone had a speakerphone talking, and it was like someone said that, and I looked around, and there was no one there, and
But you heard the voice.
Heard it, and I went and I went to the water fountain, drank the water, and then I came back to the classroom, and I sat down, and then I looked around and I saw all the kids that were playing around in the class, and I was thinking to myself that, why are these kids playing around? Don't they know they have to take care of the family when they get older? As a kid, when something like that happened, you think everybody,
Sure.
So I never really shared anything with anyone, but that's what put me on my journey.
Oh, that's a good
to be able to help my family. And then I came to the States when I was 11, and from there on.
So how old were you when you heard the voice of God?
5.
5 years old.
5 years old.
Wow.
Very, really, really young.
Wow.
Yeah, never heard it again, but you only need to hear it once.
A lot of people have never heard the voice of God, and they wish they had that experience that you had.
Yeah.
What a great one. Yeah. You have a lot of siblings, right?
Yes, I have 7 brothers and 4 sisters.
7 plus 4.
Yeah.
Where do you fall in the?
I'm the 4th oldest.
4th oldest.
I have 3 older brothers. Yeah, and so it was growing up, I was fortunate to have a father that always told me to do your best at any contest, and God would do the rest. That was his mentorship toward me, his message.
Right.
And I spent a lot of time with my father because I don't know, I just enjoy just sitting just here talking to him and just trying to learn, because I was on that path of trying to help my family, right?
You knew that,
and I didn't tell my father what I wanted to do, because to me it was like it didn't matter what anyone said to me, or whether they said you couldn't do it or you can do it, or oh, you're hearing voices now, or all these other things, you know.
Yes.
It didn't matter to me. I just knew I was going to do it,
Yes.
right? I knew that I had to do it.
Yes.
And that's where the journey came. But I had a good father. My father passed away in 2014. But he's the one that really, you know, held the family together and everything. So I really look up to his hard work and leadership and all his mentorship that he's given me.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, your mom and grandma were Christians.
Yes.
Now, your dad was a Rastafarian? Is that right?
Rastafarian, yeah.
Yeah. And so did that create any conflict in your mind, or is that just the way it was?
No, because my father, Cat Williams said it one time. He said, what he said, he said, Christians and Rastafarian, they believe the same thing, but Rastafarian believe that the higher you get, the closer you get to Jesus. You know, he's a comedian. He's joking.
Yes, that's right.
He's joking, but he's basically
hilarious.
just talking
Yeah.
about the beliefs. And
Yeah.
and speaking of Christian and Rastafarian, my father gave me a Bible when I was 17 years old, when I was wrestling.
Really?
And you know, so I remember that, and he told me to read Psalms, you know, because they're prayers. He basically told me that they're prayers,
They
and
are,
you can
yeah.
read it. And he also told me that, you know, you could also make your own prayers, just like David has the Psalms was his way of prayers. You can
Right.
write your own prayers just like that to God, and so he was always a big believer in God and Jesus, and so.
Oh, that's really very interesting. I didn't know that about Rastafarians and their Christian faith, you know, which is a neat thing.
Yeah.
Psalms indeed are songs as well, and
Songs, yeah.
and you're a singer, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about that. How'd that happen?
So when I was in 9th grade, I found out that it's all about making words rhyme and coming up with a catchy hook.
Sure.
And when I thought that I can do it and started doing it, and I wrote a song in the 9th grade, and I thought a lot of people liked it, then I just continued to do it, and something that I like to do, and I continued to do it throughout high school, through college, and also when I got into the pros as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, you grew up in Freeport. That's Long Island, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Freeport, Long Island.
Yeah, yeah. How did you end up there? That's where your dad
my dad
settled?
Yes,
Yeah.
my father was there, came there. He had his brother and also his mom lived here in Freeport.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
not here, but up in Long Island.
Yes.
And that's how he came here, and then he sent for us, and then we lived there. And then I went to school there, which it seems like, you know, when you look back at your life and you look at the path that God has put you on, it's like God put you in the perfect place for you to fulfill your purpose, which is fulfilling His will, right?
Yes.
And,
yes.
And I remember I talk about my father being my first mentor, but my coach, Russ Sellen, who was my gym teacher, he was my second mentor, the one that saw something in me I didn't realize in myself.
He was your wrestling coach.
He was my
right?
wrestling coach and
Wow.
the assistant wrestling coach, and he was the head assistant wrestling coach and the head football coach. And
okay.
he got me into wrestling the sophomore year. He wanted me to wrestle in 9th grade, but I thought, you know, I thought it was WWF, you know. He was like,
You're
not
going to
WWF.
be throwing people down
I
on
was like,
tables and stuff.
I'm not big enough. And I remember he said, it's not WWF, it's Olympic style wrestling.
Right.
And I ended up going out for wrestling. Didn't go up 9th grade, and plus I was playing soccer as well.
Oh, you were?
And I didn't really, you know, I was still, there was a Jamaican community there, and you know, sticking to the Jamaican community, playing soccer, and you know, not.
That was their sport.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we didn't know, in Jamaica we know soccer, track and field, and cricket. You know. And bobsled now, right?
Great movie with John Candy.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah. So it took me a while to digest it. One of my teammates on the soccer team, the following year, he was come from another school
Right.
and he wrestled.
Yes.
And he said, you know, he's gonna wrestle. And I was like, you know what, Coach Sellen was asking me to wrestle. Maybe I'll come and join the team.
So you did.
I did, yeah.
You did. And that became your primary sport at that point, right?
Yeah, so it was that. I was playing soccer since I came to the States. I've been playing soccer since I was 5 or 6 years old in Jamaica. And then when I came over here, I was playing soccer, and then I started doing the wrestling in 10th grade. And then I took 4th in accounting my first year. Then I they thought it was a great deal because it was my first year wrestling, but I was just upset that I lost, that I took fourth, right? And, so I went on to wrestle freestyle wrestling.
Oh, okay.
And,
tell us about that. That's slightly different.
Yeah, freestyle. So scholastic wrestling is where you can take a guy down, but if you using all techniques, and you have to wear like a headgear.
Right.
And I remember when we did freestyle, they said you could slam, you could do a suplex, and you don't have to worry about taking them down when you pick them up. It's basically the higher you throw them, the more points you get. And you don't have to wear like a headgear or anything.
Sounds tough.
So I went out and I did a freestyle. But the scholastic style is when you have more competition. Because not everybody does freestyle, because some of them have winter sports that they play, and some go and play basketball,
or whatever,
or some play, they play in the spring like soccer or baseball or things of that nature.
Yeah.
So you don't have that much participation unless they're a diehard, hardcore guy that goes out there. And so I remember I did a freestyle because I wanted to get better, and I ended up qualifying for the Empire State Games, and I won the Empire State Games that summer at
that's the state championship.
At state championship
Wow,
at 191 pounds, and it was in the Carrier Dome up at Syracuse. I'm gonna tell you a reason why that has some significance.
Yes,
was because that's where I ended up going to college later.
It's an excellent school, by the way, Syracuse. Great school.
Yeah.
And you went there on a football scholarship?
Went there on a football scholarship because after that happened, after I won the state championship and saw how fast I picked up the wrestling, then Coach Sellen started recruiting me for football. No, you see,
he said you did pretty good at 191 pounds wrestling.
This guy
maybe he could play football.
This guy.
But you had never played it, right?
Never played football.
Wow.
Actually, I didn't want to play football. Actually, I thought it was a stupid sport. It
is kind of dumb when you think about it,
Until you play it, until you understand it, you see that it's a very intelligent game.
Yes.
But I remember when I was watching it on TV when I came, and I'd be like, why is everybody running into each other? Why don't they just run around the corner? And then I would be like, let me just
like soccer, get out of the way.
So I would just change the channel and just go to the next thing. I remember he tried to convince me to play, and I remember like when school was getting ready to start, he was popping up like in all of my classes. Like when I come up my class, he was like, hey, Marlon, hey. I'd be like, hey, Coach Sellen, what are you doing here? Right?
We want to talk about football.
And I didn't know until afterwards, like a year later, he said, I knew your schedule, I knew exactly where you were going to be. You thought that was just coincidence. I thought it was a coincidence, right? But he was recruiting me and doing that. And the first thing he tried, he said, Marlon, you could be the kicker. You could come out, be the kicker.
Yeah, you got all the soccer background.
You could come in, you could still play soccer, and you could kick for us on the Saturdays because soccer, you don't play in the games on Saturdays. You could come out and kick for us. One of your former teammates, Jeffrey, he did it. He was the goalie, and he come over there and he kicked for us on Saturdays. I was like, that sounds like
that might be fun. Yeah.
Then the next time he said, the next week he said, you know what, you would make a really good defensive end for us. And I said, defensive end, he said.
Because you were fast and big and strong. That's what you need with a DE. Yeah.
He said, and you don't have to worry about playing linebacker. Those guys have to cover the flats. And I was like, flats? He was like, don't worry about it. So, and then, he still didn't really quite get me because I was like, I don't really know too much about it, and I'm gonna it's like this. It's like trying to convince a guy that has been playing football since he was 5 or 6 years old, that went over to Jamaica and now have to play soccer, and he's like in 11th grade. I
don't know how to do
football
this.
is the sport in America, but soccer is the sport in Jamaica. And,
sure.
And so I still wasn't really. I would have done it, but it was at that time I would have made a decision to do it. But soccer, it had a conflict. I had to make a choice.
And
that's another thing about life. Sometimes life brings it to a point when you have to make a choice on faith, right?
Yes.
And he finally came back but Coach Ellen kept on pushing. Then he said, you know what, Marlon? Football starts 2 weeks before soccer. You know,
give it a try.
You could come out, try it. If you like it, stay. If you don't like it, you could go back to soccer. And I was like, I think that's pretty.
That's reasonable.
Good. Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna try that. So I said, all right. I said, you know what? I'm gonna try it.
Great.
And obviously, I never went back to soccer.
You loved it.
I like the very first day. I like the contact. I like everything about football, and I like the structure of it.
Wow.
We didn't have a very good soccer coach for organization. You know, we had good talent on the team.
Right.
And we were out there. It wasn't until I started playing football then I realized that there was a certain structure towards it. So that's exactly where everything started.
That's cool. Well, we want to talk more about your football career, which ended up at the pinnacle, and also about your Christian faith in our next segment. But we need to take a brief break.
Absolutely.
We'll be back with Morlon Greenwood right after this. Hi, I'm Dale Davidson, host of Las Vegas Tonight. You know, radio has an enduring place in the heart of America. Sometimes it's music that can enliven your spirit or keep you company when you need some. More often for me, it's just been the right spoken word or two that can quiet my mind and soul. Radio brings me a reassuring word in the quiet of night or a welcoming voice early in the morning as I shake off the night's sleep and find my way into God's purpose for my day. And always, I find the best radio station is the one that brings me the best news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. My favorite radio station is KKVV in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's still right where it's been for years, at 1060 on the AM dial, hovering over Sin City like a gospel airship, broadcasting the good news of the abounding love that Jesus Christ has for every single one of us. No matter who you are or where you live, you can receive God's Word via the KKVV Gospel Airship. Just go to kkvv.com and click on Listen Live. KKVV is using all the tools that God's provided them, like podcasting and video streaming and video on demand, to produce programs that lift up our fellow believers and save the lost. If you feel a calling to speak to others about Jesus Christ on your very own show, pick up the phone and call the station. They'll be happy to tell you how. Call KKVV today at 702-731-5588 or drop them an email at kkvvradio@hotmail.com. Please join me in becoming part of the KKVV family. You'll be glad you did. Welcome back. We have Morlon Greenwood with us on Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Great first segment. If you didn't watch it, rewind and watch it, because he's got a great story about how he started in Jamaica and ended up in playing pro football. That's incredible. You know, what an accomplishment. Has there ever been another Jamaican that's made it in the NFL?
Yeah, there's, I don't know them off the top of my head, but there's been other Jamaicans that
have there?
played in the NFL, Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's absolutely amazing because we don't have football over there. That's one of my long-term goals, to be able to implement some type of football program there, some type of scholarship program.
Oh, that'd be
Get
great.
them to come over here to play football in the U.S. and to be able to experience, Coach Sullen. And he had told me this one time. He said, Marlon, the best football player in the world probably don't even play football. He's probably somewhere in India, or somewhere in Africa, or somewhere, and he's probably the best football player, but he's not playing football. So which kind of made a sense how he recruited me and how it took him like 4 weeks to convince me to play. And after playing my first year, actually after I played in 4 games, he made it very simple for me. He said, Marlon, line up here, don't be offsides, and wherever you see the football, just go get it. And that's all I did.
That's good.
Playing on defense.
That's pretty simple,
And I didn't know anything meaning like I was just following directions, right? I was like a sponge, but I didn't know what football was about. And I remember I played in 4 games, and we were getting ready to play the 5th game, and we were in practice, and Coach Sellen was like, Marlon, on first down, what do you think they're gonna do? And I'm standing there like looking at him like, and he said, Marlon, on first down, what do you think they're gonna do? And you know, coaches, when you're not answering, they'll be like, you think you're being disobedient.
Yeah.
And he was about to let me have it. He was like, Marlon, and then he caught himself. I was like, oh, you don't even know what a first down is, do you? Because he remembered that this is my first year playing. You know, I guess because I was doing so well, he kind of forgot. And I was like, I don't know what the first down is. And so I said, what is a first down? And he said, I'm not even going to tell you. Your job is to go home and watch Monday Night Football, and you come back and tell me tomorrow what a first down is. And you know, that's my first football game I watched.
Really?
And it was the Dallas Cowboys playing the Arizona Cardinals. And here I was watching that, not even knowing that you could get a scholarship to play football. I was just doing Coach Sellen a favor. Not even know that how to get into that, thinking, have any thought of playing into the NFL. Here I am watching this game just to try and figure out what a first down is so I can go tell Coach Sellen tomorrow.
That's a great story.
And I tell, when I talk to the kids and I tell them that, I said, you never know what the future holds for you. Yeah, at that point, I didn't know I was going to get a scholarship after I completed that first year. And after that first year, I was in, speaking of scholarship, I was in the office with Coach Sellen. And he was like, Marlon, I was on the phone with the head coach of Syracuse last night, and he wants to offer you a full scholarship, right? And I was sitting there looking at him like,
to do what?
Well, doesn't everybody get a scholarship? And he said, no, no, actually, before that, when I was like, no, when I was sitting there like, not, he was like, Marlon, this is a big deal. You should be excited, right? That was what he said. And that's when I said, well, doesn't everybody get a scholarship? But he said, no, everybody doesn't get a scholarship.
Wow.
And everybody don't play football for the first year and get a full scholarship to a Division 1A program, Syracuse. And that's when I was trying to be like, man, maybe it's a big deal. And then I went home and I told my parents. They were excited about it because we weren't having conversation like that at home about you could get a scholarship and you could, you know, my goal was to become a doctor. When I talked to my father when I came to the States, I asked him because I was thinking about what happened to me as a child about being successful and helping my family. So I asked my father, and he said, you can become a doctor or a lawyer. And I started, focus on becoming a doctor because I like to help people. So I was, I was already doing good in school already because I was on that journey from a younger age. But I made sure I was on the honor roll, a high honor roll each marking period. So that's why when Syracuse saw what I was able to do on the football field.
It's a demanding school, Syracuse.
And then they were like, how's his grades? And his coach was like, he's on the honor roll, high honor roll each marking period. And they were like, give him a scholarship. That's how fast it happened. But it happened that fast. But I was putting in the work for, to be a success other ways. But this is how God works, God creates a certain situation. God has a sense of humor.
He does, doesn't he?
That's why we laugh, right? That's why we have all these things. And
did Syracuse want you as a defensive end as well?
So they wanted me to play linebacker.
And you'd never played linebacker.
Never played linebacker. Wow. But they thought that I was literally all over the field, but they didn't know that was my job. Line up here, don't be offsides. Where we see the football, just go get it. Because if the quarterback had the ball, I was getting the quarterback. If the running back had the ball, I was going to get the running back. If you threw the ball all the way downfield and the wide receivers, then I had a lot of tackles that I chased them down 60 yards and tackled them. So they were like, we want this guy. And I played linebacker my senior year.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
And so it had to be super complicated. College football at the linebacker position, that is not an easy job. How did you learn all of that?
So it started my 5th game my senior year in high school.
Right.
Because when they wanted me to play linebacker, here I am. The only thing I really know, because I played on offense too, I played left tackle. But playing on left tackle, I knew where I had to go. I knew who I had to block. I knew what I had to. So it was kind of like you block, and I was a good student anyway. So that was pretty simple for me.
Yeah.
And defense, he just made it simple. He didn't want to complicate things. But my senior year, I was doing the same thing at linebacker that I was doing at defensive end. Line up here, don't be outside, and wherever you see a football, go get it, right? And that worked for 4 games until the fourth team that we played ran all these misdirection plays where you had to actually read the offensive lineman. And I was running this way, but the play was going that way, and I was looking like a fish out of water. And so the coach called me and afterwards and asked me if I wanted to play outside linebacker because that's what I was going to play. And I said, no, I want to stay at middle linebacker. So I had a good coach. So during that week, he taught me how to read, because no one has ever taught me how to read the guards.
And what they're going to do.
Yeah, what they're going to do. If a guard does this, you do this. If a guard does this, even though I was playing on offense, right, and I was doing all these offensive things, and it never occurred to me to like.
But they were next to you doing other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he taught me how to read that. And during the game, I made 18 tackles, and because the other team tried to do it. And then, but you're right.
That's great.
As I went up to college, it got more complicated because it's more structured. Everybody has a responsibility. Cover 2, you have a certain technique that you have to play. You have a certain gap responsibility. You have a certain adjustment you have to make based on what the offense does.
Sure.
So then you start to appreciate and know that this is a very intelligent game.
It is very much so. Yeah. Yeah, I started as a left tackle and then went to center, and I was a fish out of water as a center because that's a completely different position.
Yeah,
it looks like it's the same, but you
gotta snap the ball and block and cut off the.
That's right. Like, how do you do all of that? Yeah, I remember like the first game I played, I jumped off sides 3 times as the center. I'm controlling the football and I'm jumping off sides. It's like. Go sit down and think about what it is you're doing, So that's really something. Funny, So you enjoyed Syracuse?
Yeah, I enjoyed Syracuse very much. My first year, Coach Paul Pasqualoni, who was the head coach, he thought that it would be good to redshirt me the first year because I started football in 11th grade, and they wanted me to learn. I was the first guy at Syracuse. They called them developmental. Developmental mean they wanted me to learn. Just take a year and just learn the game. Right. And I was normally the rookies, the freshmen, they have to play on scout team. I never played on scout team, and a lot of the other guys used to look at me and be like, you're getting out or playing on scout team. You just have to stand here and pay attention and everything. But Coach P took a chance on me because he knew of my background and where I was coming from. I was a student of the game, and he knew it was taking a chance, but. I paid attention and I learned a lot. Even after the game, I used to go up in the film room. I used to go and pay attention to it, and I just learned more and more. So when I started the next year, I made freshman All-American. Oh, that is fantastic. And so you played then 4 years in a row? Yeah, started 4 years. I started 48 consecutive games at Syracuse. That's incredible. With a team captain my senior year. Got my degree in physical therapy. I started out doing pre-med. Oh, you did? But some of the classes conflicted with practice. That was later on my junior and senior year, organic chemistry. And I was very, very thankful and appreciative and grateful for the scholarship that I could have missed practice and went to class for that, but I changed my my major, my undergrad. My bachelor's to do physical therapy because I didn't want to miss practice, because that's the reason why I'm there. Yes. If it wasn't for the scholarship, I'm not going to be like, all right, I got my scholarship now I'm going to get what I want. Well, you were obviously serious about your education, though. Yeah. And physical therapy is not an easy degree. The only class I didn't take was organic chemistry. I took physics, I took biology, anatomy, physiology, all the other classes. So I was still learning about the body as well and everything, so. And that helped you in football too, I imagine, right? Yes. And know what's going on with your own body. Yeah, that's really interesting. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it, to be able to know what was going on with my body in case, so I could, it's all about longevity, and your body is your business. So I wanted to make sure that I learn how to take care of it. And you spent a long time playing pro ball. Tell me about deciding that you were going to take a shot at the NFL. Did you think... when you first started at Syracuse, did you think, I could end up in the NFL? That first happened after my first pro day at Syracuse when I was a freshman. Coach Ed Ogeron, he was the coach that recruited me from Freeport. And Coach Ogeron, he talks like this, Morlon, he's from Louisiana, right? If you ever see him, you'll be like, wow, Marlon wasn't lying. I remember when I first went to Syracuse, they test you in the 40. And my 40 time was a 4.76.
That is fast.
And
for a man your size, that is fast.
So and that was without knowing any type of technique or anything. And that was as a freshman. And then we had the pro day after 1 year of training and everything. And I remember I ran my 40 time, and I remember walking back, and I heard Coach B turned and looked at Mike Gerber, who was the strength and conditioning coach, who was like, "What did Marlon run?" And he just said, "What did Marlon?" And he was like, 4.52, coach. And I was like, that must be good. First, I know it was faster than before, right?
Right.
Because I didn't know what 40 time was fast, right? And what they were looking at. I remember Coach Ogeron came over to me and was like, "Marlon, you run a 4.52 your senior year? You know what that spells? NFL." And I was like, and I was just sitting there listening, and I didn't know what it meant, because I haven't played a down in football. This was a pro day, because I remember I was redshirted.
You were developmental that first year.
And I was like, no. So that's when I first said, you know what, maybe. And then when I went out and I started playing, I did real good in the spring game. Then my rookie year, my freshman year, I ended up getting Sporting Youth Freshman All-American. And then fantastic. I made first team All-Big after that, and went on and got drafted in the 3rd round.
Yeah. What was draft day like for you? Were you at home or did you go?
I went to Coach Sellen. I went over by Coach Sellen's house.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that got me into the sport.
Football in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went over
there. Your high
school coach. It was nerve-wracking because they said I could be drafted anywhere from the end of the 1st round to the 3rd round. And I remember when the 1st round went by, then you get drafted 2nd round. And back then, the draft was 2 days. The first day was for round 1 to round 3, and then the second day was 4 to 7.
Right.
Now it's like first round is on the first day where they make it a little bit. But as it was getting closer and closer to wrapping up on the first day, and I didn't hear my name called yet. I was more feeling nervous. But it was all the people that came to see me get drafted,
Oh, yeah.
And I remember my agent was like, "Miami is going to draft you."
He just knew somehow.
Miami is going to draft you. Yeah. 3rd round came and Miami didn't draft me. They drafted Travis Minor from out of Florida State. Then I really started getting nervous, and then the 88th pick, they traded their 2nd round pick the following year to draft me again.
To draft you.
So they drafted me, and that was good.
Oh, that's a great story. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins and then your progress through the NFL, and of course talk about your faith and what you're trying to accomplish with kids today, which is really very impressive. We'll be back with Morlon Greenwood right after this.
Greetings and blessings to everyone. My name is Marlon Greenwood, and today I want to talk to you about mentorship. For 8 years, I was a starting linebacker in the NFL for the Miami Dolphins and Houston Texans. In high school, I was a 5-time state wrestling champion, and when I boxed professionally, my record was 3-0 with 3 KOs. Since my retirement from the NFL, I became the founder, chairman, and CEO of the Marlon Greenwood Foundation, aka MG52. A mentorship program for socioeconomic disadvantaged youth and adolescents. One of my first mentors was my high school coach, Russ Sellen, and through his guidance and leadership, he opened up my eyes to possibilities I never knew existed before. Here at MG52, our mission is to raise up youth to become successful, socially responsible citizens through mentorship imparted to encourage the realization of their full potential while respecting diversity within the community. I'd like to invite you to become a mentor with our foundation. For more information, visit mg52.org. At MG52, our motto is, believe it and you will achieve it.
welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. The first two segments with Morlon Greenwood have been fantastic. And boy, I know this one's going to be even better. So Morlon, you got drafted by Miami. Tell me what that was like and showing up for training camp and all of that.
Well, it was really good because in college we played a multiple defense and all these things, and I thought going into the NFL we had a really tough college. Coach P and Coach Ed Ogeron, he said this to my parents, that when he leaves here, he's going to leave here a man. And I believe that when I was playing for Miami, because I was like, practice is not half as hard as it was in college.
Is that right? Wow.
I was like, this is all we're doing? and all the other guys were complaining. I was like, this is great.
This is vacation.
I remember one time we came out there in practice and they said shells. When you're in shells, that means like you're not going to have any shoulder pads on. But shells in college for us just meant shoulder pads and shorts, right? So yeah. I remember they said shells one time and I went out in practice and I had on my shoulder pads and shorts, and everybody was in those little small shells. Yeah. He was like, Marlon, what do you got on? I was like, we're in shells. He was like, no, these are shells. I was like, oh, I thought that was you're supposed to wear underneath the shoulder pads.
Oh, okay, that's funny.
So I had to get used to it because it was about preservation, but it was a good experience. I picked up the defense extremely fast. I remember Jim Bates, who was the coach that was responsible for making sure that they drafted me and trading. He said that he'd never had a player that came in and picked up the defense as fast as I did. And I remember
that's an honor to hear.
I remember I was just letting it go through one ear and through the other because yet I haven't played a game yet. This was just in training camp. He was like, Marlon, I'm serious. I'm telling you. Yeah, I've never had. I've been coaching for 20-something years. I don't remember how, but I've been coaching for a long time. But I never had somebody do that.
And you said we got a smart guy here. Yeah.
And so it went on to that, and then they were projecting me to be like the starter. They were going to move me up to the first team. And then one day in practice, I was in pass rush, came down on my foot, and sprained my midfoot very severely.
Oh.
I heard something pop. I tried to get up and I tried to. I actually laid there. I remember Derek Rogers. He was the will linebacker at the time. He came over with like, Marlon, are you all right? And because I didn't really scream or anything, I was some guys. I was just there on the ground. He was like, Marlon, you all right? I was like, no, I'm not all right.
As a matter of fact,
he was talking about it afterwards, but like, yeah, I thought you were okay because when I actually
there was no crying.
Yeah. And then I got up and I tried to get on my tippy toe, and the arch of my foot wasn't holding. So when you get on your tippy toe, it would just fall like this. Because I thought that something popped, like I heard something pop. So they took me out and they took me to the MRI to get the MRI, and we were in the MRI room for like 3 hours, and the doctor and the person running it kept on coming and saying that, have you ever had surgery on your foot before? I was like, I never had surgery on my foot. And they were like, because the reason why the picture is not picking up is because they've detected metal. So anyway, they took me to the X-ray room because they couldn't get a picture in the MRI because you wanted to see the soft tissue for the MRI.
Yeah, sure.
And when they did the X-ray, it showed the bone, and it showed that I had a sewing needle in my foot.
A needle in your foot?
Sewing needle was broken in 3 different places, and I thought
back. You don't remember that happening?
I thought back, and when I was in Jamaica, I used to walk barefoot on the ground. I didn't have shoes, so I remember one
stepped
time.
On a needle.
Stepped on a needle. I remember in Kingston, I stepped on a needle. I didn't know I stepped on a needle. I stepped on something, and I thought it was probably just something that went in and out. And I remember not walking for like a couple of days, to stay off my foot and kind of walking your tippy toe because
it hurt.
To hurt the area, right?
Yeah.
And I guess I stepped on a needle, and that's the only place I could think the needle coming
had
from.
To be, yeah.
And they kept the needle in there, and it's still in there now because the doctor was like, it's been in there for all these years, so just leave it in there.
Why mess with it?
Why mess with it
at this point? Yeah. So you liked playing for the Dolphins?
Yeah, I had really good teammates. I remember I played with Zach Thomas, Junior Seau, also Jason Taylor. And speaking of Jason Taylor, when I was going through my time, because I was on crutches for 5 weeks,
Wow.
And Jason Taylor, you know, sometimes when you get hurt, the team goes on, everybody leave you and forget about you. But Jason Taylor was like, Marlon, don't think that we forgot about you. You didn't do your rookie song. You need to come over here and do it. So I was like, all right.
So every rookie has to stand up in front of everybody and sing a song.
And because I got hurt, I kind of, I
thought you were going to slide
through it. So I remember I went up there on my crutches. I was on the crutches, and I went over there and I said, you know what? I'm going to do one of my songs that I wrote in college, and it was called "Blow the Skylines Out of Proportion."
Okay.
The reason why I wrote it because I was thinking about all the things I want to do. And I know in other songs they used to talk about the sky's the limit, and in my mind I always say don't limit yourself. My artist name is Ultimate, because ultimately I always thought that I could be the best in anything that I do, because that came from my father. Do your best at any contest, and God will do the rest. So
yes,
did a song there, and we ended up doing like a video afterwards in the off season. You know, I gotten better, and I ended up starting, and starting the first game against Tom Brady, by the way, after they won the Super Bowl the year before. Talk about a nerve-wracking experience. Haven't made a tackle in the NFL. Was our crutches now in the fourth game, and here I was I know I'm bouncing back and forth, but that just came to my mind. I remember when I was starting to get better, and Jim Bates came down, Coach Bates, and he said, Marlon, one of the guys came down with like, Coach want to see you upstairs, and I'm like, Coach want to see you upstairs.
That's never good.
That's never good.
That's never good.
Coach want to see you upstairs.
And bring your playbook.
Because I missed it. And now I'm going up there. I'm thinking like, man. And so I go up there, and he was like, Marlon, we're gonna start you this week. For all the things I thought he was gonna say, I didn't think he was gonna say that. He was like, Mark, we would be remiss to not put you out there. You're doing such a good job, and we don't even want to waste the time. So we're gonna just start it this week. And,
wow.
And in my mind, I was like, I wasn't expecting this, but I was like, all right, thanks, Coach. And then I went downstairs and I got more treatment. I was like, man, no, I got to play this week against Tom Brady. And I got to play good. And then I have this foot that I'm recovering from and everything. But
and you went right to the film room.
Went down there. Yeah, I was a good student of the game. And so long story short, I made 8 tackles that game, and we beat New England Patriots.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. And I had a really good rookie year and started 4 years for Miami. Then after that, I ended up signing with the Houston Texans. But going back to the Jason Taylor one,
the song. Will you do the song for us?
Well, I would do a different one. Blow the Skylines Out of Proportion a little bit. I've evolved more, but that's one of my great songs. But I really like this one, because this one's called Ultimate Rising. And,
Rising.
And it goes like this. Ultimate a man who talk about the peace. Them a talk about the war, them a talk about disease. Optimistic, me not accept defeat. Remember, whatever you sow, you will reap. I bless you, you tell me about me blood. Talk behind me back in my face, skin your teeth. You worship the devil and the mark of the beast. Me I praise up Jesus and the word we him preach. Blah blah, you know it's Ultimate. That's my artist.
Oh, there you go, give him a hand. Studio audience loved it. That's nice.
No, and after I did Skylines, we end up in the off season. The PR guy was like, "That song was pretty good, Marlon." And you think someone is just feeling sorry for you. Plus, I'm on crutches and everything. I'm like, yeah. He was like, "No, that was really good. I'm gonna introduce you to a producer." And I was like, okay. In the off season, he introduced me to a producer, recorded the song. The next thing you know, we did a video. Next thing you know, during the next season, they're playing the video on halftime.
Is that right? Oh, that's
in the stadium on the big screen. And I remember, because I didn't understand how the music worked, one of the coaches was like, how much did you pay them to play that on the big screen? And I was like, I didn't pay them anything, because I didn't know how it operates, with marketing. It was later on when I started doing the music, you see, like, you hire a marketing team and different things like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, that's what the coach was talking about,
That's great.
I thought it was, but it was great, and a lot of people knew me. And but then continued to play and signing with Houston.
You got a lot of money.
Yeah.
You got a great contract.
Yeah, great contract, yeah. And that's what...
22 million?
Yeah, 22.5 million. Played 4 years out of that. and they always backload the contract.
Yes.
But because, you know, at the end they want to either restructure a contract or they release you, you know. In my situation, it was a situation where my agent was, you know, kind of, you know, looking for the big money opposed to looking for the, which he did when I was leaving Miami, which worked for me and gave me opportunity to help my family.
Right.
But as you go in there, once you hit 30 in the NFL, they're always saying that you're already old already. As a matter of fact, once you get drafted, they're trying to get in the next year, the next group that's coming in. So it's very competitive, and you have to understand that, right? You have to understand that it's a business, and it's a competitive business, and and they you know, they build their brand, but I'm very thankful and very grateful that I was able to have an opportunity to play in the National Football League, as well as being able to fulfill my childhood dream of helping my family.
Oh, that's a wonderful story. And you excelled. Tell me about the Ricky Williams tackle. Tell me that story. That's a great story.
So in Miami, Ricky Williams was the running back on the team. He came in, I think, the same time when Junior Seau came in. Who was very, very instrumental in helping me to be able to elevate my game, to having me an opportunity to get the scholarship that I had. And you know, I'm talking like, because Junior Seau, he passed away, he committed suicide, and that was really tough. It was really tough. But back to Ricky, when he came down in Miami, you know, we practiced against him and everything, and I used to see this stud running back that was just,
he was incredible.
Man, just incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible speed, size, and power and explosiveness.
Yeah.
And I used to always wonder, man, what would it be like to tackle this guy? I used to see.
Luckily, I'm not going to have to, because he's on my team.
He's on my team, right? So fast forward a few years later, God always makes these scenarios happen. What you always thinking, but like, oh, that's not gonna, you know. The next thing you know, it's 3rd and 1. Ricky Williams is playing Miami against Houston, and Ricky Williams in the backfield. And I knew he was going to get the ball too, because he kind of looked at me and gave me the wink, like. And I was like, is he messing with me?
But he wasn't.
And I thought him toss him the ball. I was like, they're not messing with you. They're not messing with me. I got to get going. So, you know, on a crack toss, the wide receiver tried to crack down on you, and I played across it good, and I just ran as fast as I can, as hard as I can to the sideline, because I knew the crack toss was to try to, you know, crack the linebacker a little bit so he could turn the corner. And he only had 1 yard to go. And I remember I ran so hard, I ran so fast, and I hit him as hard as I possibly can. My helmet went flying. And I thought that normally when you hit any other running back, they would at least like fall down out of bounds, or, you know.
Something, yeah.
Rick, it's kind of like I just bumped him a little bit off of his track. So he just kind of just stepped out of bounds real elegantly and turned around and ran back to the other. I gave him everything I got.
I wanted him to say ouch.
I mean, at least show something more. You know, but yeah, he was a good teammate to have, and he was a very tremendous athlete. And
that's
so
great.
It's good, the experience that you have playing, you know, playing with different guys, different teammates, and you just give you opportunity to work. And that's the thing I like about football, is football teaches you about life. It teaches you about overcoming adversity. It teaches you about discipline, working together, teamwork. And all of these things is different type of characteristics that you have to be able to deal with life. And it has helped me to accomplish the thing that I've accomplished, sports in general. Because in high school, I was a 5-time state champion wrestler.
That's great.
I became my coach first scholastic state champion at Freeport High School in 29 years.
Wow.
So all those things help me when you go through tough, difficult times. Sure. And your mentors as well. Like Coach Paul Pasqualoni, he told me one time, we were 0-3 one year, and he gave us a speech, and he told us, the thing I remember about, he said, the last thing he told us was, remember this, tough times don't last, but tough people do. If you remember one thing I say today, tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Yeah, you know that one.
And I remember from then we won 8 straight games. We won the Big East Championship, and we went to the Orange Bowl.
Oh,
and
wow.
from that. So in life, when things happen where you go through a tough time and things like that, I always remember these things.
Yeah. Spend a minute or two on what you're doing with the kids.
Oh, so, since I got out of the football, I played 11 years professional football. I started 8 years in the NFL, started 3 years in the UFL. And when I finished, I started the Marlon Greenwood Foundation. Actually reestablished it because I had a foundation in Miami, but I didn't have time to spend with it. And I thought it was important to be able to have the time to do so. And we started out doing free football camps with the kids. Football is to bring them in, but it's to teach them about the importance of education, staying on the right path, and doing the right thing. And we bring in the NFL alumni guys to mentor the kids, to be able to show them about hard work, discipline, let them know it's not going to be an overnight success, let them know that the path to them achieving their goal is not going to happen like that 2 or 3 minute YouTube video they watch someone talking about their life, or even me sitting here, talking about, how the time of the show, how I'm, how I've achieved. It's going to take years. It took me 21 years to sign with the Houston Texans to be able to fulfill my childhood dream. And that took hard work and dedication and and things like that.
And you want to convey that to the kids.
So I want to convey that to the kids and create. So we continue to do the free football camps back in my hometown. Also, we started doing them here in 2017. In 2019, we wanted to put a facility in place to develop so the youth could have a place to go year round. And from there, we wanted that facility to be multi-sports, all the wraparound services, mental health, behavioral health, tutoring classes, trade school, entrepreneurship classes, leadership classes, financial literacy, all these things to get the kids exposed to as much things as possible so they can reach their full potential quicker. And that's what we wanted to do. So we went on that journey from 2019 and finally in 2022, March 3rd, it got approved by the Board of Regents at Nevada State College. And we have
Congratulations.
We have our MOU now. It's going to be a 200,000 square foot facility.
Wow, congratulations.
So we're very happy about that.
You're giving back in a major way. So you not only fulfilled what the Lord told you when you were 5 years old, but you've gone beyond that to not only support your family, but a lot of kids. A lot of kids.
So one of the, and I'm glad you said that, because I think one of it was being on that journey. That's what was one of my reasons for just reestablishing the foundation and also pursuing this facility, because I had that youth coming up looking for guidance and leadership and mentorship to be able to direct me to how I was going to accomplish it. I didn't know how I was going to accomplish it. I knew the first step. I tell people 3 things. First, you have to figure out what you want to do. Then you have to figure out how you're going to do it. And the third step is where a lot of people fail, is put in the work, right? I know step 1 and step 3. I knew what I wanted to do, help my family. I knew I was willing to put in the work, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. But God made the path for it. I wanted to become a doctor, right? How did it happen? Football. So, and that was when it dawned on me after it happened. I was like, I was talking about it. I was like, I wanted to become a doctor, but the end result still the same.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. It's hard to believe, but an hour is ripped by, Mark.
Wow.
Thank you so much. I hope you come back.
Yes.
Especially when you got that facility built.
Yes.
I'd love to have you show us that.
Yes.
Because that is an incredible breakthrough for Las Vegas, because the kids in this town really need it.
It's definitely something that would be really great.
God bless you. Thank you, Morlon.
All right, thank you.
Morlon Greenwood. What a great guest he has been. Wow. And as I try to remember to say each and every episode of Las Vegas Tonight, when it comes to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, please walk with him. God bless you.
Stand tall with your back against the wall. Yes, I have learned.
You've got a mighty hand. Praise in the Lord. Praise in the Lord. Dare not disguise foolish fears as wise. Winners are the ones who try. Keep on looking toward the sky. Praise in the Lord. Don't you ever say you can't. You've got a mighty hand. Praise in the Lord. You gotta keep your head up high. Keep on looking toward the sky. Praise in the Lord. Don't you ever say you can't. You've got a mighty hand. Praise in the Lord. Praise in the Lord. Praise in the Lord. Praise the Lord.
I have times in my life where I feel like all my strength is drained from me, and in its place comes a feeling of emptiness. It seems I have everything, an awesome job, wife, money, but there's still something missing. In those moments, I find a place where I can be alone, I calm down, and I pray. I close my eyes and softly whisper the words of prayer, filled with an unparalleled feeling of peace and stillness. Next comes inspiration, a desire to love, forgive, and to do all the things that I had no strength to do before. Jesus fills the emptiness inside of me, and I feel myself truly happy.
Morning shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with your host, Dale Davidson. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of our show. We so appreciate your loyalty to our program. To keep Las Vegas Tonight on the air, please go to our website, vegassaints.org, and click the donate button. To send a check or money order, please make it out to Dale Wynn Davidson Ministries and mail it to 9030 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. To suggest a guest to appear on the show or any other suggestions or questions, write to Dale at dalewdavidson@yahoo.com or call him at 702-480-3989.
Shine, Las Vegas, shine.